Hey guys, how are you doing? This is Kathy Njao from Chat with Kathy, and I have tried. I promised you a part 2, and this is me doing it. I'm so proud of myself. Now, I don't want to make this video long, so if you remember where you were writing your notes last time, fungua kitabu, tuangalie tuliachia wapi, and I'm sure we talked a lot about the people who like saving other people. Okay, the savior mentality, and I said we are going to talk about it in depth. We did give some good reasons as to why people want to save other people. Now I felt like we can talk about the somebody raised the concern concerning the difference between this savior complex and the messianic syndrome that we wanted to talk about. So I felt like it's good to differentiate between the two so that you really understand why we're talking about savior complex or the messianic syndrome, and you get the differences between the two. They have almost the same characteristics, but there's a bit of a difference. So I feel like that is why we should start our video today by highlighting the differences, and then now I can tell you how the savior complex shows up in your dating life or in your relationships with others. I don't know if I'll be able to complete it in one video. I might split it into two so that we don't get confused, but we'll see as the spirit leads. Okay, so yeah, welcome to today's video, and today I want us to differentiate first of all the savior complex and messianic syndrome. I like telling you, I like researching because I don't want to come here and give people matohoho. Here are my notes. Okay, so what is the difference between the two? So savior complex is a psychological pattern where individuals feel compelled to save or rescue others at their own expense. These people, they tend to seek relationships where they can play the role of a rescuer. It is basically as simple as that. I chose the simplest definition for it. And do I need to repeat it? No. Now the messianic syndrome, it almost has similar characteristics, but the difference is quite big, and not very many people understand this messianic syndrome because we do not talk about it a lot. Now, the messianic syndrome is an exaggerated belief in one's own importance or destiny to save or change the world. Okay, it can manifest in individuals who see themselves as messianic figures, with a mission to bring out grandiose societal or spiritual transformations. Now, you don't even have to look at the nitty. We don't have to go deep into details, but basically one of them is quite simple. It's just a psychological problem. The other one is actually a very big problem. Now, for you to understand the messianic syndrome properly, think of in Kenya, we recently had these people that were brainwashed by an individual. I don't know if I'm allowed to mention their names. The Shakahola thing that went on, the person that was behind the deaths of over 200 plus people, how many were they? Now that, whatever that guy was doing is a very good example of the messianic syndrome. They have an exaggerated belief of their own importance. They're supposed to transform the world to be something else, and therefore they tend to lead people to do funny things, okay, for lack of a better word, because they want to bring about a lot of change, especially spiritually. Now that is a very good example of the messianic syndrome. So what are the signs and symptoms of people who have the messianic syndrome? I am not going to talk about the savior complex because we talked about it in the other video. Okay, now the messianic syndrome, the signs and symptoms are like, the first one is grandiosity. That is a pervasive sense of grandiosity or superiority that is often accompanied by beliefs of being chosen or destined for a special purpose. They feel like they are so important. Okay, we have people who have been called to do great things. All of us have been called to do great things. We have a purpose that we have to fulfill on earth, but these people take it an extra mile. They do crazy things. If you remember the Shakahola thing, keep it at the back of your mind. You'll be able to understand what I'm trying to say. That your importance is, it's too much. Okay, it's too much. That's the first one. The second one is delusions of grandeur. Now, you now start believing that you have supernatural powers, you have supernatural what are they called, abilities. You have sight that is beyond what is realistic or possible. Okay, that one is as simple as that. And then there is the third one. That is a need for adoration. It is important, very important to you that people admire you, they worship you, they have a reverence for you. That psychological need deep down, that you have to be recognized and adored, and people have to keep talking about you and stuff like that. You see, this is something that, and I can, when I'm talking about these things, I know there are people who are coming to mind, and you're going to mention them at the end of the video. And then there is the lack of empathy. Now, like I was saying, the Shakahola thing, the guy that was behind it, he didn't care that people died, he didn't care that people lost their lives, people, including children, women, old, young, they starved themselves to death, and he didn't do anything about it. There was simply no remorse from his side. There was no empathy from his side. You understand? This is why we are saying this is such a huge problem, because that mental illness can actually cause people to do very, very, very weird, crazy things. And then the other one is the rigid beliefs. These are people that are resistant to change. When something is rigid, these people, they are very resistant to change. Even if you approach them and tell them there is another way of doing things, they refuse. They oppose change at any given time. Their way is the only right way. You get? And then the other one is a rejection of criticism. Anytime you oppose them, they do not take it kindly. You see, if I'm a normal person and you come and correct me, I will appreciate the correction, and then I'm gonna do something about it. But these people, they don't do that. It is not in their books. They are not okay with being corrected. And then the other one is risk-taking behavior. They engage in very funny behavior that sometimes is risky. Okay, it ends with people losing their lives. It ends with people breaking bones all over. Okay, and then the other one, I think they're over now. Let's talk about who are these people that are affected by this messianic syndrome. Mostly you will see the messianic syndrome in religious leaders, like the one we have said, the Shakahola. You will see them, and there are many. It's not just the one, the Kenyan case that is an isolation. There are people who are there. They have even opened their own cults. They have started cults, and in the name of bringing a lot of change in the society, or even spiritually or whatever. But when you look down the nitty-gritty of these cults, whoever is leading them is just a sick person. The correct term for these people, for that sickness, is this messianic syndrome. They want to deliver people. They feel like they have been called to do something, and the problem is not being called. The problem is how you go about it. When you have people losing their lives, you are disrupting the normal running of society. Children are not going to school, people are not going to hospital, people are not running lives like normal human beings. Then that is when you know that it is a problem. Okay, it becomes a problem. Other people who sometimes feel like that are political leaders. You feel when they have this messianic syndrome thing, they might not experience all these signs that, like, we have pointed them out, but they might experience some of them. When, like, the need for adoration, okay, you might find that it is there. You might find that they reject criticism and a few other points that we have mentioned before. We have also talked about cult leaders, or people who go ahead and proclaim themselves as the Messiah. We have seen this again in Kenya. We have somebody who comfortably calls themselves Jesus. They feel like they are a reincarnation of Jesus Christ himself, and they actually bestow that title upon themselves. I am Jesus. Okay, now that is a sick person. Okay, and then The last people that might experience this are people that are called social activists. They are fighting for things in the community or in the society that they feel are wrong. These are people maybe who are human rights things, rights of women and children, rights of marginalized groups here and there, rights of animals, rights of plants, all these people that are fighting for a specific cause in society. They might be there might be some cases where they are experiencing this messianic syndrome. Okay, it might not be everything in the list, but it might be there. There are people who are extreme. Have you seen people who put themselves on fire? You go outside a building, you pour petrol on yourself, and then you light yourself up and you burn to death. It is still something that these people call social activism, but there is a line. Once you cross a specific line, we now start seeing that there is a problem. I hope up to there, because I don't want to talk about the messianic syndrome so long. I don't want this video to be long, but at least you've gotten the difference between the messianic syndrome and the savior complex. This is a bit intense. The messianic syndrome is a bit intense. It's a very difficult psychological disorder to deal with, by the way, and I have not had many psychologists talk about it. I think I'll invite a friend to maybe talk about it deeply. They are a psychologist. We're gonna talk to them and see whether they can be able to give us deeper insight into the messianic syndrome. But what I've given you is just a brief overview. I keep telling you I'm not a professional. I am not a psychologist, but I like reading. I like researching and teaching people different and new things. Now, can we go back to the savior complex? Why do you feel like you have to date people and save them? Why do you feel like you have to save people? Okay, why are you dating people that are wrong for you? Like I say, let me adjust my tripod. Okay, here we go. Like I say, I'm not a dating expert, I am not a dating coach, but there are things that are a bit obvious and that we can just pinpoint them. Okay, so first things first, why do you do these things? The first one is that you have a desire to feel to be needed. Okay, now you feel like it's a good feeling when I am indispensable in my partner's life. I want my partner to need me. I like feeling needed. It could be a deep-rooted psychological problem. Okay, maybe it stemmed from your upbringing, and that is why you like feeling needed. Okay, the second one is the savior complex. Now these things are not very different, but the savior complex basically is you have a subconscious need to rescue others. Now it's not as intense as the savior complex, is not as intense as the messianic syndrome or the first one that we talked about the savior complex, but they're almost the same. It's almost the same. So you do it, you save people because you actually have whatever disorder we are calling the savior complex. That is what is making you do these things. Okay, and then the third reason is validation. You're doing these things because you want approval from your partner. You want them to always refer to you as the one who fixes things. This is the person that handles these things. This is a person that comes to my aid when I need them. You are there. You just want that validation. Okay, every now and then they're talking about how you saved them from a lot of things, how you delivered them, how you came through for them. You see, yes, you have a deep need for validation. And then there are people who do these things, this savior complex thing, because you're avoiding intimacy. This is you have like a fear of forming genuine connections. Okay, that is the first point. You have a fear of forming genuine connections, and then because you have a fear, you go and seek out partners who are emotionally unavailable. Okay, so that you might so that you do not have to actually form a genuine connection. Okay, so you go and look for somebody who is emotionally unavailable, and then you go ahead and do and look. If they're not emotionally unavailable, look for somebody who needs fixing in their lives, okay? And then you date that person. That way, you ensure that you maintain a distance emotionally. And that is what most people do. So you don't want something that is real and genuine. You don't want the actual work of a relationship. So you decide to date somebody that is married, for example. When you ask people, why are you dating married people? Oh, they treat me well. Oh, they care about me. Oh, no, it's a lie. You're only dating married people because you do not want to be available yourself. You are also emotionally unavailable. At the end of the day, you know this person will never be yours. At the end of the day, you know this relationship is going nowhere. But you still decide to date them because you don't want the openness and vulnerability of an actual relationship. You also have an issue. You are avoiding intimacy. And intimacy here, we are referring to closeness emotionally, not the physical one, okay? And then there is the people who suffer from martyr complex. Martyr complex, simply, you decide to sacrifice your own problems, okay? You sacrifice your own needs because for the well-being of others, for other people. In short, heri ujinyime mwenzako apate. You are an actual martyr. If you know what martyrs do, there are people that were killed because of their faith. You just simply give away your entire life. You give away your needs. You give away your whatever for the other person. And that is a very bad way to live, especially in a relationship. You cannot be sacrificing your own needs for other people. Okay, why are you doing it anyway? Why are you doing it? Why? When did your needs stop becoming so important that you have to focus on the other person's needs and ignore yours? Okay, that is what the martyr complex is about. And then there's a part about unconscious patterns. So why do you have this desire to save people in relationships? You might have an unconscious pattern in your brain. So you are repeating similar things you have seen in relationships, okay? It could be you saw your mother doing the same thing while growing up, or your elder sister if you live with her, or your elder brother if you live with him. You see, or your father. You have seen these things happen around you as you're growing up. So subconsciously, you keep repeating the same patterns. It's not maybe because you want so much. It is simply because you have seen it happen before. Bila kujua, inajirudia. You find yourself doing the same things that your mother was doing in her marriage. Okay? It could be a pattern you're repeating from your past, okay? And then there are people who just want to save people simply because they're just empathetic and compassionate. That one we cannot argue about, because to some extent it is okay. To some extent it is normal. If I'm dating somebody and they need help and they have asked me, Kathy, could you help with this? I will help because I'm a nice person. I'm not mean. I cannot date somebody that I don't actually like. So helping them does not necessarily mean that I have an issue. It could be just something that is very normal. The issue becomes when we cross some certain boundaries. That is when we start saying this one has a problem, okay? And then there are people who have this the savior complex or savior mentality because of the past trauma. We discussed that in the first video, and we gave examples of trauma that can make somebody have this savior complex. We discussed it in details. I am not going to repeat. So the other one is idealization. You just think it's romantic. It's romantic to help people. You think it's romantic to be needed by people. It's romantic to deliver people. Okay, you just have that idea in your head that it's fine, it's good. Okay. So now we have talked about why people do these things, and we have given a few points. I think like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We've given 8. I didn't want to make this video so long. Now, so how does it manifest in relationships? How do you know that you have a problem of this messianic complex? I mean the savior syndrome. Why? Unajuanga aje uko na hiyo shida? The first point is that you date a certain type of people, and I do not mean a type like physically, oh, tall, dark, handsome. No, I don't mean them. I like light skin ladies, I like short girls. We're talking about a type, especially emotionally. Okay, you have a type. You find that I find women always complaining, oh, I'm always getting hit on by married men. I'm always getting hit on by men who are dating. They just want me to be a side chick, nini nini. And you wonder, why am I attracting people that are like this? That people that are not mine per se, yes, if that is what the correct term for it. And it's not the first person. You have dated married men marakamane. You have dated somebody who's dating marakamane. You are a man, but you can never, you don't have your own girlfriend. The girl that you have either ni manzi ya mtu mwingine ama umekuwa na mamas, you know, where you always dating these people who are not available for you. It becomes like a pattern, and that tells us that you might have the savior complex. Okay, you date specific type of people. So now, why are you dating married men? Why are you dating married women? It is simply because you feel like you can be able to alienate the problems they have in their relationships. Because when you date somebody that is married, their first complaint is always, my wife stresses me so much. Okay, my husband stresses me so much. You feel like you can step in and save these people from the relationship problems in their marriage. Okay, you want to deliver them, you want to save them from these problems, so you become like a safe space for them. They come here to complain about their relationships, they come to you to complain about their marriages, and you feel like you can fix it for them. Okay, that is why you're dating married people. That is it. The second one, you find people they date people who are financially unstable for some reason. And I find this with men so much. Men, akisikia it's a girl, kadem kako job, ama akona pesa, ama akona gari, ama akona nini, anaondokea. And when you look at it, they always say, oh, women are disrespectful, women are women with money will not submit, women with money, hey, my lord, you're dating people without money, with financial burdens, because you want to feel like a savior. You just want them to rely on you. Okay, send me money for nails. Okay, send me money for hair. Okay, send me money for, you know, you feel good when you help these people. So for you, subconsciously too, you find yourself dating people who have no money. It's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. But it becomes a problem when it is a repeated pattern. You check, I've dated 10 girls. None of them has had a job. And the ones that with jobs, we only date for like a month, tunaachana. And then ukiuliza, oh, msichana alikuwa na kiburi sana. Oh, msichana alikuwa na nini sana. My dear, you just don't feel like a savior. Okay? Then the third point is that you find that there are people who date people with complex health issues. All your girlfriends, they're asthmatic. All your girlfriends, they have ulcers. All your boyfriends have migraines all the time. All your boyfriends have a weird ass medical condition, and you feel good every time. Ni saa 8 ya usiku, baby kutumpeleke hosi, baby huyo. Saa 8 ya usiku, baby nitafutie dawa zangu. Baby, you feel so good when this person needs you. And then it becomes a problem when it is a pattern. You can date somebody who is asthmatic, bahati mbaya. Okay? You can date somebody who has a health condition, bahati mbaya. But when it becomes a pattern, you have a problem. You have a problem. You cannot date 10 girls and 9 out of them have complex medical issues. Okay? You need to get checked. Then the other one, we have talked about it, yeah? Dating married people or emotionally unavailable people. This person might not exactly be married. They could be single, they could be your age, they could be your type, but they are emotionally unavailable. Most of the time, they even tell you, when you ask them what are your weaknesses, they tell you, I am emotionally unavailable to some extent. And then girls think that is sexy. It's not. So you find that you're dating the emotionally unavailable one because you also are not. available. Okay, that's it. And then the last one is people who date violent people. Why in God's name do you date people who beat you? Why do you date people who are very harsh with you, people who are very, you know, they're not calm people, they are very aggressive people? At the end of the day, nandacha kukunywa soda before the shoot video. At the end of the day, you feel like, I'm gonna change them, I'm gonna help them snap out of their violent behavior, out of their violent tendencies. And more often than not, that does not happen. We end up burying you or taking you to hospital because you have no hands or you have no feet. It is as simple as that. You need to stop dating people who are wrong for you. You need to stop dating people who are, basically stop thinking you'll save people. There are people to be saved. There are people who just need genuine help, kidogo too, and then they move from there. Okay, there are people you might find, and this is why I say this varies from person to person. It's not okay to date. It's not wrong to date somebody who is financially unstable. It's not wrong. It is not wrong. But maybe you can help that person, and then they become stable and life moves on. But you cannot date somebody who is financially unstable, for instance, and then when they get stability, you leave them and then you go to the next poor person and then you want to deliver them. Okay, we call these types of for women, you hear them being called pick meshers or Barbara the builders. You know, these things. You're dating people who are wrong for you because you want to change them into something else. We forget about the men who actually have that problem. And men, do you listen to me? Men, do you listen to my videos? Because we need to change. We need to check on a few things. Let us date people that are good for us. Let us date people that are good for our mental health. Okay, I think that's that. I have enjoyed shooting this video, and it's not very long. I think it's like 27 minutes. I don't want to beat each other. So, and make sure if you're coming across this video, first of all, make sure umerudi uone ya kwanza pia, because there are points I've talked about that I have not expounded, but they were expounded in the first video. So I'm gonna come back again with another series. I know we still need to talk about narcissistic personality disorder, but I feel like there's so much material where people talk about it. So we might not go very much into details. I also feel like I want to talk about personality traits. We have people who are introverted, we have people who are extroverted, we have people who are a blend of both of them. I want to talk about these people, how they think, how they do their things. And of course, this always has to come back down to dating. How do you deal with dating an extrovert but you're an introvert? Okay, what about you who is an extrovert and you want to date an extrovert? Will that relationship work? What about two introverts? Will it work? So I feel like it's interesting, and I'm still doing research on the same. So for the next video, I think that is what we will focus on. If in case I change my mind, of course I will explain to you. So ensure that you like this video, share, subscribe, let us interact in the comment section here. And people like talking to me on TikTok, and then they forget to come here to talk to me. I like being talked to even on YouTube. So make sure that you watch this video and you share and you like and you subscribe, and let us talk to each other on the comment section. So enjoy the rest of your week, and yeah, see you next time. Bye.